guys, this week we're going to fix the AX10. It got damaged on that rock crawling versus rock bouncing adventure. Now around 15 years ago, this was the car to have. This was the crawler to own. If you were getting into rock crawling, this was the car you should be buying. So it's kind of like today's TRX4. If you want to get into rock crawling, buy a TRX4. It's kind of, that's how this was 15 years ago. So let's get this car back on the road. I'm going to repair it. I got some spare parts for it, which in today's time, you're lucky if you find them, because if you break it, that's kind of it. You can't buy spare parts for this anymore because it's so old. On top of it, the gears in the servos are stripped, so I'm going to swap out the servo. I'm going to replace some parts, get it all back on the road again, and then what we're going to do, we're going to take the Axial AX10, which was the car 15 years ago, and take it up against the ultimate nowadays modern, well, there are a couple of other crawlers out there which are actually quite good as well, but let's take it up against the TRX4 and see what 15 years of engineering and technology and thought into crawling actually has done to the crawling hobby. So I'm going to fix the Axial quickly, then we're going to take them out on the trail, do a head-to-head competition between old and new. When you're putting a car or a crawler back together, you can always look on the other side and see how that's put together. So this has a little flange, this little ball here has a little flange on the side, which sits on the outside of the axle. Then you have to place the slightest, minutest little ring in between here, so that you don't have play between the shock absorber and the swing arm. And obviously you're not going to get it in there first time. You're going to have to like try hard. Maybe I should use the pliers to place it in its position. There we go. And now this also has a little flange on the one side. You have to turn it the other way around and try to get it in there between the washer and the swing arm. There we go. Wow, that was actually faster than I thought. When you tighten them, don't go too hard, because you still want to have enough movement in all your parts. And now I'm just going to connect it to the back. There we go. Okay, car is fixed. I also chose a 15-year-old servo, which is a Graupner. It's got an order number C4021. Have no idea. But it seems quite strong. Let's get the body on, charge both of the car's batteries to to its full capacity and take them out onto the trail. Okay, between these two cars we have the TRX4 Sport, which has quite a low gear ratio comparing it to the Axial AX10. Then the TRX4 Sport has unsprung weight and weight in the chassis, and the car's balanced. Axial AX10 is completely stock. There's nothing changed on it. It's been built the way it came out the box. So there were no upgrades in the time. It wasn't like today where you could get all these amazing things for the TRX4. The Axial AX10 literally just stayed stock. So for 15 years, this car has not changed. So let's play follow the leader and let's see if the AX10 can keep up with the TRX4 Sport. So that was quite rough and adventurous from the Axial AX10, just because of how the motor and gearing setup of that car is. So it looks like we have a clear winner. The TRX4 Sport didn't battle as much as the AX10. The AX10 did fight a little bit more, and I'm just going to run through the chassis to explain just a few things. What's the difference between a rock crawler and a scale crawler? Let's run through the differences of a scale crawler and a rock crawler quickly. We all know what the chassis of the TRX4 looks like. It's a ladder chassis and everything is connected to the chassis. Now on this car, in the front suspension, it is all standard. On the rear, I have a different setup where I can change the height and the angle of the rear shock. I have it set up that I have a little more down travel than the standard vehicle. Then I have unsprung weight in the wheels, all four wheels, and I have some weight in these 3D printed boxes, about 40 grams. And now coming to the AX10, it does not have a ladder chassis. This might look like a ladder chassis, but is actually just to keep the bumpers in place. That's all it does. This has a U plate sitting in here, two of them, where at the bottom the swing arms are connected and at the top the shock absorbers are connected. The shock absorbers are about 1/3 longer and a lot thicker than the TRX4 shocks, allowing the car a little bit more travel than the TRX4 has. Also the way the angle is set up on the car, but this is all standard, this is all stock. The negative thing about it is the car sits quite high. So when it goes into a side angle, it likes to fall over quite easily, and that's kind of what you saw, and that was the negative part about that run that we just had. So there we go, guys. Old versus new. But did new win hands down? Not really. I found this actually quite close. The only time when the older car battled a little bit more than the newer one was when it got really technical. But don't forget, the TRX4, the way it's been set up and all the upgrades that have been done to it, when I'm on trail runs with other friends, and I'm running against other TRX4 sports, there's no TRX4 that is actually better than this. They're either a little bit worse or they're all equal. So this is a very good setup, and the old car was very close. So in the next couple of videos, I'm going to put some unsprung weight in this, balance this car out, maybe change the shocks or put some other shock oil in it, and let's see how good we can make the AX10 and see if it's going to eventually be equal to the TRX4 Sport or maybe even better. Nah, that can't be. We all know that can't be. And one more thing I wanted to share with you guys is all the content makers. I have a little trick up my sleeve that I'd like to share. You're always driving your one car with your one transmitter, you're driving your other car with your other transmitter, and you're filming at the same time. Well, at least that's what I do. Some guys might have a friend, or some guys might have 3 friends. Well, in this case, if you're filming by yourself, I have a little trick. I have a little tape, insulation tape, electrical tape, around the one transmitter. Take the transmitter, swing it around, put it the opposite way, and tape them together. Hang on a second. Okay, and then all I do is I tape it together. So now I always have my other transmitter on me. So I can swing around, drive the one car, swing around, drive the other car, have my camera in my hand, and it just makes contact making a lot easier while I'm out on the trail. Hope it helps you guys. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel, click that notification bell, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye.